If you want to learn English in a fun and natural way, stories are one of the best methods. When you hear a story, your brain doesn't only listen. It learns. It understands new words from context. It feels the rhythm of the language. And most importantly, it remembers. You don't need to memorize boring grammar rules or do long exercises. Just enjoy the story and let the language sink in. That's why we create these stories, for you to enjoy English without pressure. So, if you like this method, subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video, and turn on notifications. That helps us make more free stories for you. It was early morning, but the sky was still dark. The streets were empty. There were no people walking, no cars passing, no birds singing. Everything was silent, except for the little red numbers glowing on the alarm clock. It was 7:32. But the alarm clock was quiet. It didn't ring. The reason? It was broken. The person sleeping in the bed had no idea what time it was. They were dreaming about something peaceful and far from reality. But then suddenly, the body moved, the eyes opened wide, and the brain understood something terrible. It was very late. A loud noise came as the person threw off the blanket and jumped out of bed. Their eyes landed on the clock. 7:32. The color in their face disappeared. There was no time to think. They needed to be at work by 8. In a panic, they started running around the room. They opened the closet and pulled out random clothes. A sock flew to the lamp. A shirt landed on the chair. Underwear hit a plant pot. The person didn't care. They found pants, wrinkled and a bit dirty. It didn't matter. A shirt, inside out. Good enough. They threw on the clothes quickly, like they were practicing for a fire drill. There was no time to check if the clothes matched. The only goal was, get out fast. One shoe was under the bed. The other one was near the door. They hopped across the room wearing one shoe, grabbed the other, and continued their race. In the bathroom, they brushed their teeth with one hand while trying to put on their jacket with the other. The toothbrush almost flew out of their mouth. The hair was wild and standing in every direction. They used one hand to push it down. It didn't help much, but they gave up and moved on. They spit into the sink, washed their face quickly, and checked the mirror. The reflection looked like a tornado victim. But again, no time to fix it. In the kitchen, they opened the fridge. It was almost empty. Only an old banana and a few ketchup packets were inside. They grabbed the banana, but it was too brown. Threw it back. Then their eyes landed on a forgotten energy bar on the counter. Perfect. They stuffed it into their jacket pocket. Then they looked around. Where were the keys? Not on the table. Not in the bag. Not near the door. Panic returned. They ran back into the bedroom, lifted the blanket. Nothing. Checked under the pillow. Nothing. Just before screaming, they reached into the jacket pocket. The keys were there. Relief. For a second. The phone buzzed. A message. From the boss. Where are you? The person looked at the clock again. It was now 7:42. 10 minutes left. They grabbed their bag and ran to the door. Then stopped. Forgot the bag. Went back. Got it. Almost left again without locking the door. Locked it. Finally, out the door. They ran down the stairs, skipping steps. Outside, the air was cold. They pulled the jacket closer and looked down the street. The bus was just leaving. Too late to catch it. The next one would come in 10 minutes, and that was 10 minutes too long. So, they started running. They ran past the small bakery on the corner. The smell of fresh bread was wonderful, but they couldn't stop. They waved at the man walking a dog. The man moved aside quickly to let them pass. The dog barked once. The person nodded a thank you and continued. Their legs started to hurt. Their breath became heavier. But stopping wasn't an option. They were already late. They reached the metro station and flew down the stairs, almost slipping on the last step. They tapped their card, the gate opened, and they rushed in. The train was just about to close its doors. With one final sprint, they jumped inside. The doors closed behind them. Inside the train, they held onto a metal pole. Their face was sweaty. Their hair was a mess. Their clothes didn't match. A woman with a coffee cup looked at them with surprise. A man with headphones gave a little smile. But they didn't care. They made it to the train. That was all that mattered. Or maybe not. They opened their bag to check. Laptop, yes. Notebook, yes. Wallet, yes. Everything seemed fine, until they realized something. The presentation folder. It wasn't there. They remembered clearly. Before leaving, it was on the table near the lamp. They never picked it up. Their heart dropped. The big meeting was today. The boss had asked for that presentation 2 weeks ago. Now it was sitting at home. The person felt like crying. But then, an idea. Maybe they had a backup. A digital file. They pulled out their phone and tried to connect to the internet. It was slow. The train went into a tunnel. No signal. They waited. Held their breath. Then, finally, one bar. The page started loading. Slowly. Then, success. The file was there. They smiled. They could download it at the office. Crisis avoided. The train arrived at their stop. They pushed through the crowd, got off, and walked fast, almost running again. Outside, they crossed the street quickly, barely avoiding a car. The driver honked, but they were too focused to care. They were almost there. Just a few more steps. Suddenly, a bird flew over their head and dropped something. It landed right in front of their shoes. One more step, and it would have been a disaster. They looked up, shook their head, and laughed. Not today, bird. Not today. They reached the building. Opened the door. Entered. Elevator button. Pressed. Waited. Ding. The elevator arrived. Inside, calm music played. It was the first moment of peace since waking up. They looked at their watch. 7:59. Made it. As the doors opened, they took a deep breath, stepped out, fixed their shirt a little, and walked toward their office. Just as their hand touched the doorknob, the fire alarm rang. Now, let's stop here for a moment. Do you know how much English you just learned by listening to this story? Think about it. You didn't sit and study grammar. You didn't memorize a list of verbs. But your brain followed the story, understood the actions, and learned naturally. That's the magic of stories. You learned expressions like no time to think, crisis avoided, out the door, and just in time. You heard real English structures like where were the keys? And it didn't matter. You felt how time moves in storytelling, then, suddenly, now, just before, and most importantly, You enjoyed it. That's how language becomes a part of you, without stress, without pressure. So if you enjoyed this story and want to hear more like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on notifications. Like the video if it helped you, and share it with a friend who also wants to learn English through fun stories. And we want to hear from you. Have you ever had a morning like this? Have you ever missed your alarm and had to run to work or school? Leave a comment and tell us your experience. Writing in English, even simple sentences, helps you practice and grow faster. And we reply to every comment. Also, if you want to find a real English-speaking partner to practice with, join our Telegram group. It's created to help you meet other learners and speak English every day. The link is in the description. Don't wait. Join now and start speaking with others today. We'll see you in the next story. Remember, every day, we upload new educational videos and stories to keep your learning journey fun and engaging. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and join us on this adventure toward mastering English. See you tomorrow.